Hello. Hey, Eric.
Hello.
I'm fine. Hello.
Hello. Hi, Emil. Hi, Eric.
Hello.
You cloned yourself, Eric.
Yes, I need to be called in via the computer and the phone for technical reasons.
I thought you had two eyes or something.
I do have two eyes, but they sort of look at the same thing.
Okay.
Let me start to share. Okay, I guess it's pretty fast. Maybe it's a good time to start. All right. Yeah, welcome everyone to the CDEvents working group. My name is Andrea Fritzeli. I work for IBM. And today is December the 13th. And this meeting is recorded. As usual, feel free to sign yourself in the participant list. Okay, I set up a small agenda, and if there are more things to be discussed, feel free to add as we go. So first, I wanted to go through kind of action items from last time. And I set up a poll for the Wednesday meeting, discussed. It's the current time does not work for Eric as a permanent conflict. Oh, I see Emil and Eric have already voted. It's great. So hopefully we get some more votes and then we can move the meeting before next week, so we can have a new meeting. And the other thing we discussed last time was the top 3 priorities. So this was after the presentation to the DOC. The DOC requested to have like a list of top 3 priorities for when asking for new contributors to join the project. And so we discussed 3 things: Python SDK, Java SDK, and kind of surface existing POC, migrate them to CDEvents 0.1. So I created this top 3 label with this top 3 held wanted view in the existing CDEvents releases project. And I put in here the 3 items we discussed. So for the POC, there was no issue, so I created a new issue. It simply points to the existing POCs in the CDEvents. So, and yeah, so it mentions that, okay, they are hosted in CDEvents, they use an old version of the SDK, they don't have like a proper documentation, and they're not discoverable for the website. So we need to fix all these, and we can also split it in sub-issues if we need. So if that's okay, I'll share this link back to the TOC, at least until we have a better template from the TOC.
Just a comment there. I thought we already had a ticket to update the existing POCs, but I might be wrong there. Then I'm trying to find it now. You can continue, but you might be right that there isn't. But maybe it was in the CDEvents repo, maybe, or where it can have been. I don't remember.
Yeah, if you can find it, maybe we can link it in here, or just close this one and add the label to the other one.
Sure. If I find it, I will take some proper action on it.
Thanks. The project can go across repos in the CDEvents org, but I don't think we can link issues
Not
from
cross
other
organizations.
orgs.
No,
Yeah.
not cross organizations, but cross repos it can be.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. And finally, we had some good discussion about connecting events last time. So I started a new issue and document to start tracking the work and the discussion on that. So this is connecting events issue. It links to my original issue, link produced events to consumed events, and to the issue Ben created about the global ID. And I created a new design document where I started putting some content. I kind of copied a bit of the template we use on TechOnSite. But yeah, basically provides summary, motivation, goals, non-goals, use cases, requirements, related work, and then implementation, or if there are multiple implementation possible, so alternatives. And for alternatives, I started filling in, but that's where the bulk of the work needs to go. And my idea was to try and capture for each of the alternatives kind of description, pros and cons, what it involves in terms of spec changes, SDK changes, and tools adoption. Yeah, and then we can hopefully pick one or two that are not necessarily exclusive, excluding each other. Yeah. All right. And in terms of updates, CDEvents.dev, PRs from Terry had been merged. Thanks, Evan, for reminding me that I should merge them. So I just merged them a few minutes ago. And hopefully the CDEvents website is up to date. Yeah. No, not yet. So I need to check. Maybe I need to trigger a deployment. Should be automatic though. Maybe it's just cached. This is a new page. Okay. Looks like we have the white paper, primer, and then we have sorry, I think I have an idea why maybe their build node netlify uses as cache. So let's Okay, sorry, but
But was it really merged to main, or was it merged to a branch? That pull request. I'm not sure if Terry did it towards main or towards the pull request. Oh, sorry, sub branch.
That's a good question. Right, it was on main.
That was on main, that one. But the other one where the spec is added, but because we saw this, I mean, the front page was updated, right? So this
Yeah,
one
the
is
front
there,
page and the community page was updated.
but not the spec part.
But yeah, but the website should not sync from the spec repo anymore. It should just have links to there.
Oh, right. Okay, so the primer should be from there now, yeah. Okay. Strange.
So yeah,
Maybe we could ask Terry,
whatever.
unless you know how to troubleshoot it. We can maybe request Terry
Yeah.
to do it.
I think it's fixed. I think it was what I
It was a
was
cache in your own.
suspecting.
Okay.
I think that Netify reuses the node, so maybe those sync documents were still on the cache node. So with a clear cache now, it looks fine. So this should point to it up now.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. So that's all done. Yeah. So other things that I thought we could do, we could continue discussion on connected events if you wanted to. We could discuss, last time we brought up release events as well, which is an interesting topic we should discuss about at some point. So any favorite option?
Could we maybe revisit also the scope of the 0.2 release, what we want to get in there? At least the people on this call, if there are any preferences
Yeah.
on what to prioritize. Of course, connecting events is something we have discussed that might end up there, unless it will take too long to discuss it. But the other roadmap and yeah.
Yeah, no, that's a very good idea. I started doing some review before the meeting, but I couldn't finish. But let's have a look. Yeah. So projects. Well, I also closed the 0.1 milestone.
Good, yeah.
And
So
I
we have
moved
both the 0.2 there, and we also have the roadmap. And I think I'm the one who started the 0.2 thing there. I'm not sure if it's really complete or if it lacks things from the roadmap, or so maybe we need to do some admin work to make them in sync as well. Yeah, you can delete this, I guess. Yeah. So the structure of this is more or less copied from the 0.1 release. But then we have the roadmap, which also has a label for 0.2, I believe. No, maybe it doesn't. I think it had some kind of property saying it was aimed for 0.2, didn't we? No, maybe not.
So here we filter from milestone 0.2.
Right, so the
See
milestone 0.2, but there's no label for it. So we can't really see in the roadmap which. Can you add the milestone there? Okay. I was thinking in the roadmap view, if you could add the milestone column. Does that then reveal the?
Yeah.
I have the label, but there should be a milestone as well. Yeah, there. Maybe then you would get, yeah, there you get 0.2. So we can see if anything from the rest of the roadmap should also be in 02, or if we should move things away from 02 because we don't think it will be possible to have it there. I'm not sure which way to do this, if we should do it from the roadmap or from the other end. And also in the roadmap, we don't maybe have all issues there either, because there could be issues in the repository which have not been tagged correctly, so they're not in the roadmap either.
Yeah.
So maybe we should have another view for non-roadmap issues or something for the whole organization.
Yeah, I don't think.
I don't know.
I mean,
Maybe
for something to show up here, it has to be associated with the project. I
right,
don't
yeah.
think so. I think what we need to do there is something like these. So if we like add everything to project,
Oh, yeah,
then we're sure we're not missing anything, at least on the spec. So we need to do it for all the.
yeah, maybe not all repositories, but the most common one at least. So I'm not sure which ones should be actually tied to, yeah, the SDKs maybe. Yeah, of course, should be there. I think you did the job already, didn't you? Or was it?
Yes.
Maybe you
Sure.
didn't do it for the Go SDK, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So if we go to the old view, we should have a lot of.
We could add the label column to the all view maybe, so we see there is if it's part of the roadmap or not, if we want to. Or we can do it this way. That's fine.
Sorry, it's not what you. This is what you meant.
State is
No.
not done.
Yes. Sorry.
Guess it -1 there. I guess state is -1. Or yeah, okay, minus state's 1. Great. No, I thought we could add the labels column so we see what's in the roadmap, because the roadmap is also labeled, right?
Right.
Yes.
Yes.
There, yeah.
So we can
So
do
there are
this,
some
and now
issues which are not in the roadmap, but actually have a milestone on them.
so if we exclude roadmap once, we get everything which is not on the roadmap.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, that should be a roadmap, I guess. Or how do we define roadmap? Is that everything that eventually will come into a release? And if so, what will not be in the roadmap?
I think roadmap is, yeah. But for me, it's for like the next year, for a year.
In the foreseeable future.
Yeah. Or foreseeable future, yeah. So maybe we could have like the 2022 roadmap, the 2023 roadmap, or things like that. That says. But yeah, I understand your point of things that we don't think we'll ever do. We might as well close them.
Yeah, that's also a way to deal with it. But I think this is good enough now. Then. But then the first one should be in the roadmap at least, I think. And also the second one. Because the second one there, if we don't do that thing, we have not really followed what SIG interoperability wants us to do, or I mean, we don't align.
Mm.
And that's the same with that one as well, yeah.
Is that for 0.2, or shall we just set the roadmap for now?
I can't say, maybe not. Depends on how quickly we want to release 0.2. It might be so that we want to release it in a few weeks or months, and then we might not have done that other task.
So the GitHub to CDEvent translation is actually something that I think the Bob is working on. The GitHub action.
Yeah, I believe so. Together with someone else as well. Was Brad involved, or no? Who was it?
Yeah, I think Brad was involved as well.
Yeah.
If we can have more than one assignee. Yeah, we can. Okay, so the SDK is definitely for the roadmap. I guess everything that is in 0.2, we can simply add it to the roadmap, right? Okay, so connecting events, I will add it to the roadmap as well. Payload and versioning, this is the issue that Ben created, and I left a comment asking whether is this something we can close as something that custom data addresses, or if there is any scope left. But I think for now, until we get an answer, I would keep it in the roadmap.
And the first one releasing 1.0 should be in the roadmap as well there.
Yeah.
The requirements for 1.0.
And this is the Java SDK one, which is definitely part of the roadmap. But we don't have a roadmap label on the Java SDK repo, so I need to.
If we are dependent on such labels that are all over, we should have global labels. Is that possible to have global labels in GitHub? Maybe it's not.
Maybe it's possible to have org-wide labels. I need to check. I think what we do in Tecton, we use some automation to manage label definition. So we define labels in Git and sync them back to GitHub.
Right. But, so there is some, there is such,
But I don't know if the sync goes to every single repo or if there is a org-wide setting. I need to check.
There is you can have a default repository. So any new repository will get the same labels at least. But there's probably nothing such as a global label which can be then added, which and works for all sub-repositories. So as you said, some automation might be needed on top of it, which we might want to have anyway.
Okay, but you say if we add labels to the GitHub, then they
No, I
would
don't think it's
show.
the .github or do you see then that we should use the .github as a template repo in some way? Because I don't think it's done that way by default. And if you would, then they will, of course, those repositories will get the same files as .github has, and we don't want the profile, for example, to be in a docs to be in all repositories that are created under the org. But there is a concept of template repositories. So you can create an empty or a repository with just a code owner's file and a README empty README file or something with something in it.
Oh, I see what you mean. Okay.
And
Yeah.
then labels could be there as well, I guess.
Yeah.
But that's
Yeah,
not.
but that's.
It will not be propagated to the existing repositories. It will just be for new repositories.
Yes, and also if you want to add a label later on.
Yeah, exactly. So that's not what we are after here. That's So I think a synchronization thing or a global configuration external thing. I think that there are at least 2 different GitHub projects which can handle this kind of configuration as code on top of all your repositories in the organization somehow.
Oh, this is a very old.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're talking about tools. Okay, anyways, yeah, we don't have to fix that now here. Update. Okay, update. Okay, so this is the new issue I created. Go in the roadmap. DNS domain for CDEvents.
Yeah, that one I think is done, right? I asked there in the end if I think that's done already. Or
Yeah, the only thing I had left
please.
out is this, but I think we have dedicated issues for updating the SDKs now, so we can probably.
Yeah, that's okay, I think. I would say.
Okay. So this is a proposal for a POC. Yeah, that's something we should have in the roadmap, or what do you think?
I don't, maybe not in the roadmap yet.
Okay.
I think it requires someone to be interested in working on it. And if there's no one yet, well, I wouldn't like to remove it, to close it. So if that's the option, then I think we should have it in the roadmap, but I wouldn't say that it would happen anytime coming 6 months, I guess. I don't know.
So we'll leave it there. Adding requested event semantics. Okay, so this is something we discussed. So this is about like imperative events. If I remember correctly. And I think we actually wrote now that in the spec that we want to use declarative events.
Yeah, and we have asked Salavoy in this through this ticket, I think, if he's, let's see. Yeah, and we haven't got any replies. I'm not sure how interested he is still in these things.
I
So I
can
don't
leave a
think we should have it
comment.
in the roadmap. We should
Yeah,
maybe propose to close it if otherwise is fine with that. Mauricio.
okay. Schema URI property to the context. This is not
Yeah.
done yet. No,
So
we
this is
didn't do it yet, right?
Yeah, this is quite straightforward to just add it. If we want it, we should probably discuss that sometime, but it should be in the roadmap. I think it should be.
Yeah, I think it's
Yeah.
something we need to definitely at least decide about.
Yeah.
And similar for global ID. I mean, it's related to the other one.
Yeah.
Publish SDK to the public Maven repository. Sounds like something we should have in the roadmap.
Yes.
Okay, Python ones, write a README. Yeah.
Oh, no roadmap.
No roadmap is okay.
Good.
Yeah. Sorry, I didn't bother setting the right color.
No, that's fine.
And this is a SDK Go question. How do we represent the transformation between a cloud event and a CD event?
Transformation? Is there transformation?
Between a cloud event and a CD event.
But the CD event is a cloud event today. So there's still transformation going on. Or
yeah, no, I think he refers to probably to the Go object. This is an SDK question. So if you receive a cloud event, how you can convert it into a CD events object probably.
okay.
I guess the use case here, I want to map that. Yeah. I know Salaboy was experimenting with the SDK Go and parsing CD events out of so receiving CD events for the SDK. But I don't know if there is any issue. Let me check. Okay, and this is yeah, this is some cleanup. For the SDK, I guess it would probably be good to have it on the roadmap. But we don't have the label. Okay, so that's all of them. And so if we go to the roadmap now, we have a few things defined for 0.2. We have a number of things that are not defined. for any milestone, and I guess
You can sort it if you want. Or I don't know. So, gotcha.
yeah, I guess we should.
Is
I mean,
this
how do
what
we want to do it?
Yeah.
Sorry.
No,
Go
I
ahead,
think
Dennis.
if this is what we should do today to define a scope for 02, or if we should have a technical discussion on some of the topics. I don't know. Maybe we should ask Eric if you have any preference, what you would like to get most from this meeting.
I don't
I'm
really
fine
have a
with it.
preference.
No preference, okay.
No preference.
So let's continue then. I think it's good to get the scope set so we know what to prioritize when we discuss things.
Yes, my question would be: do we want to set a date for 0.2, or kind of set a like a regular cadence for releases, or we want to set a scope and then the date will come depending on what we achieve.
I was thinking this early in the project, as we still are, I think it's fine to not set a date. I mean, not have a fixed release cadence, but instead release something when we have something valuable to release. Unless there are people expecting us to publish a certain feature in a certain time or something. But I haven't heard any such requests from any expected user or intended consumer of this spec.
Yeah.
So to me, it's fine to just set the scope and then release it when it's done. Or would you say it's better to have like a deadline so we get some more push towards a certain time? Or
Yeah, I agree with your initial statement. I think it's this early in the project is probably there is no need to have like regular cadence, but I also agree with last thing that you mentioned that maybe having at least some kind of time frame helps us, kind of moving towards a target. Otherwise, it's maybe harder to move forward. But yeah, so we don't have to, but maybe we could try to set an indicative time. I'm thinking EU is April. It's our summit in May. Yes, in May. So I mean, we could try and have some target for some upcoming event in 2023 to have a new release, and then we could, announce it and make some noise about it at events. I don't know. Would it make sense to try and target something like March or end of March 2023 for the spec, and then having the update of the SDKs, so that when we are in April, May, we have something to show, including POCs updated.
Yeah, to not lose interest from our surrounding interested stakeholders, or what you should call them. I think we need to have some kind of release. I would say every quarter would be good, but at least every half a year. But of course, if it's just very, very few people involved in contributing to these releases, we might not end up with any valuable content. But I think we should strive for like 3 to 4 releases per year in the beginning now, until we get to 1.0 at least.
Yeah, I think so too. I think, and also, as we mentioned before, like I'm definitely the kind of person who works best with some sort of a deadline. I don't work really well either, but anyway, but best with the deadline. so having semi-frequent deadlines, and I think every quarter is a reasonable. We don't need to set a fixed cadence, but have like a roughly every quarter, something that might be nice.
Okay. Well, every quarter we had 0.1. When was it? In November. Sorry.
It was just before the KubeCon, right? No, yeah, for the CD summit.
Yeah, not to end of October. So so November, so it would be then earlier. We are looking at something like end of January. But yeah, I don't know, with Christmas holidays and everything.
No, yeah, probably end of February at least would be more.
Okay.
But I mean, if we would have something end of February, and then maybe with a stretch we could have the 0.3 before the there will be some kind of CD summit, I think, in May, with the open source summit in where is it now? Vancouver.
Yeah.
So maybe around there we could hopefully have something 0.3. Then.
Yeah. Okay,
Let's try
so
May 10th or that week. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So beginning of May.
Yeah.
Well, I guess
Then
we can
maybe,
say towards the end of April then.
that gives us only 2 months then for the last release there, but we could try.
And we can try to say these milestone, maybe set it a bit like mid of February.
Yeah.
I mean, these are not set in stone, so we.
No. Sure.
Okay. All right, that said, then what is likely to happen until mid of February next year? Like link produced events to consume events is something that we are discussing, and definitely something that I would like to try and keep in there.
I wouldn't be too surprised if it will fall over to 0.3, but we can try to keep it there.
Okay. I'll put my name to drive it forward. Python SDK, definitely something we should have, I think. I don't know if Eric, you're still keen on being assigned to that.
By the way, how is the progress there, Eric, on the Python SDK for 0.1?
Very little, unfortunately. I've been swamped with other stuff.
How much is left? I think you said something.
So I believe that currently we can produce valid events following the 0.1 spec. So what is left, the two major things that are left is parsing incoming events and writing some better documentation for it. Those would be the two things that are left. But I was thinking a few minutes ago, I may have some people I can delegate that work to, but I will let you know as soon as possible. In that case, that would happen sooner rather than me doing it myself.
I have a question there related to this top 3 assignment, or top 3 that we said there. If someone looks at our top 3 list and sees that, oh, that ticket is already taken by Eric, will that mean that they don't want to to contribute, I think, or what? How will people see that, do you think? Or will they ask
That's a
Eric?
very good point. Maybe it's better to unassign me until I know for sure I have time to work on it.
I don't know, or write something there in it to say that looking for more eyes and hands, and I don't know. I don't know how.
Yeah,
how
I
to
think that's a very high level ticket, a kind of an epic, if you will. Maybe we could have smaller items, smaller item of work that are unassigned, and linked into there, something like that. I mean, we can clarify. I guess this is just an initial attempt. The idea is maybe that you see to provide a kind of template or format for projects to provide this information. I think it would be good to have like a contact person associated to an issue, so that if someone wants to contribute, they know who to talk to, and they have someone they can reach out to and say, okay, yeah, I would like to contribute to these. I mean, of course, they can contribute to they can come to the working group or ask in Slack, but I think maybe having a contact person helps a bit.
Yeah,
So
that
in
worked
that
pretty
sense,
well in the October or Hacktoberfest. That worked pretty well because I had some people reach out to me to help with some part of the Python SDK.
But were you stated as contact person then for such tickets, or
Yes.
how was that done? Through a label or some other kind of, or in text in some table, or?
I think I was stated as contact person in the issue itself, and then basically they just commented on the issue saying that they would like to be assigned to it, and I could assign it and help them with PRs and stuff.
But couldn't we just do it a simple way to say, I mean, in text, along with the table or whatever, where these top 3 tickets are shown on some CDF site, it could be said that if you want to contribute and the ticket is already assigned to someone, please reach out to that person to see how you can help out.
yes.
But wouldn't that be an easy way to handle that?
I think so. I think that makes sense. Yeah.
Because I think it's still good that you, Eric, is more or less on top of this, since you have started it and since you have the ideas on how to structure it.
Yes.
I think it's good that your name is there at least somehow. And you could probably help out reviewing things that end up in this ticket, this issue.
Okay. All right, let's continue. Clarify source usage of source for CDEvents. Yeah, that's not. I'm not sure it's something I would put on the top of my priorities. This is an issue I created some time ago.
I don't remember what it was about, so maybe it's not.
Yeah, I think the idea was to, do we want to have like some format specification for the source, something more strict than that we have today, but
that's probably not top priority, is it?
Yeah, so I would tend to remove it from 0 to 2.
I agree.
Maybe move it to 0 to 3. No,
then,
or remove it completely.
Yeah. Well, it was there. It was just it's sorted, so it's in the end of the list there, in the below.
Okay.
Just quickly disappeared due to the sorting. If you click 0 to 3 again, I guess it will be removed. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Abbreviations for all event types.
Yeah, let's put that into 0 to 2 now. I will try to make sure that happens.
Okay. Taking advantage of
Yeah, and that is more or less about, I mean, probably one of the most critical or crucial things might be to change what we call the pipeline run and task run to something else. Maybe, if we want to align on that level. Or are these not that? Maybe there's another ticket in the same area. Maybe that's because this is more for a build. We already called it. So maybe this is not that.
I mean, aligning with the work of the other 6 does not give us much value in terms of features we can provide with a spec, but it's probably
it's just that
something.
Yeah, go on.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say it's something still that I think we should do. It's probably the earlier the better. Yeah, I think the last time we look at this is we didn't have like a proper reference though from to follow.
Yeah, and I'm not sure that the last word is said in its interoperability document either. I mean, it's more or less just a proposal from one person, which has been reviewed, of course, by some persons, but then there's no real consensus in the CD Foundation that these are the actual names we should use for everything. So they might change again when that discussion is brought up the next time, maybe. But at the same time, of course, the later we do this, the more places we need to change in. I mean, in SDK code and wherever, maybe, which might be hard later on. So we will put ourselves into technical depth if we don't do this early. But at the same time, we should have a stable baseline to base this on, of course. I'm not sure how stable that is today.
I guess at least staying on top of this, trying to answer this question on a regular basis is probably something that we should do. It's part of every milestone. So
I believe
we can.
I believe we have stated something in documentation saying that we aim to be aligned, but we might not be yet. Something like that we've stated in the documentation, or and that's still true. But it's not enforced, neither from us nor from SIG interoperability, that it needs to be fully aligned yet.
Yeah. Okay, so is it okay to keep this in to remind us about continue checking this, and we can check on a regular basis and decide whether we keep it on this milestone and move it?
I think there might be other things that are more important anyway to consider. Now it's already in mid-February. We more or less just have a month and a half, or less than 2 months more or less there. So I would be surprised if we could get this in actually.
Okay, so let's switch to 0.3 then.
I think so.
For this. Okay. So incident, at least a certain initial level of specification. That's something that I would really like to have in for the DORA metrics. So I'm happy to put my name in there. That's good. Nice. And keep it in there. So at the repository, including last change to build events.
That's
yes.
Is that somewhat related to the connecting events issue somehow?
Yeah,
it depends.
I don't think there is any pressing need to address this specifically right now, so I would remove it.
Yes.
Secure software supply chain aspect, that's definitely something interesting to have. Not something that I would be able to work on probably within the 0.2 timeframe, unless someone is interested in taking this up.
Yeah. No, as normal, I cannot guarantee that I can work on it, but I think it's interesting. But looking into this, attestations or something like that, maybe, or salsa level references somehow, or
I mean, some of it might be like low-hanging fruit, just to add like some extra data to the artifact events, for instance.
SBOM validation, maybe, or something.
But I think it makes sense to do it if we kind of have a POC to, or some kind of even small demo to show it in action, into action. There was some Tecton user who was asking for events to associated to when an artifact is signed, because in the way it happens in Tecton, we built an artifact and then we have a different component called Tecton chains that looks when the build is done, and it goes and signs the artifacts, and then it adds some annotations to the build information to say, okay, yeah, this is signed now. And so what I want to do there is to send an event so that someone could capture that event and react to that, as opposed as reacting to the artifact was built. Because yeah, if you want to assign the artifact, you want to react to those. So that's something that I was looking into. I'm not sure, but yeah, what the time frame for that would be. I mean, I can try to keep it in 0.2 tentatively.
Yeah, it's probably not highest priority for 0.2, but we could try to have something maybe for 0.2. I guess this would be like an, as I said before, like an epic level thing, which could contain sub issues, and some sub issues might be solved in this area, but for sure not the whole thing.
What do we call them? Subjects and, oh gosh.
Subject and predicate, or predicate.
Predicate, yeah. All right. Put my name on this. But what I might do, maybe then offline, create a separate issue for that and put that one in 0.2.
Yep.
Okay. I have 1 minute left.
Okay.
Define different type of tests in CDEvents. So this is also partly related to software supply chain aspect, as we have events like security scans and so forth. But there are also other type of events like unit tests, end-to-end tests, and fuzzy tests and so forth. And we had some chat with the Cube test folks who are interested in what CDEvents could do for them, but there's been no follow-up after the initial discussion. So I think this is an area where we should expand, but I don't think personally I would be able to do any work on it in 0.3 unless someone says, okay, yeah, we really want to implement CDEvents and we need this data.
Yeah, I'm fine with moving it to later release.
Okay. Wow, that's a long list.
Yeah. Yeah.
We are at 9 now.
Yeah.
Do we want to continue this going for this for the next meeting? Maybe we could use some time from the CDEvents meeting if we don't have anything else in schedule.
Yeah,
to go
that's
for this.
completely fine for me. And I think once we have a fixed list of things we want to work on towards 0.2, it's also easier to sell that to the community or to publish that so that other people can see where they can contribute if they want to help out in 0.2. So I think it's valuable that we do this now, or not today then, of course, obviously, but on maybe continuing on the SIG meeting on Monday.
Okay, yeah, sounds good to me.
It's good, and of course we could maybe do some offline work on this as well. If we see something that is obvious, we can just set it.
Yeah.
But let's continue this on Monday. I think that's a good idea.
Okay.
And that the audience there will have other other desires or preferences, but we'll see.
Yeah.
Good.
All right. Well, thanks a lot.
Yeah, thank you.
Have a good rest of your day.
You too.
Thank you. Talk to you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.